Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the start of our 2022 Expert Insight Series. We're very, very excited to be starting up this particular webinar series with Mauritius. And so much has happened since the end of last year. So we really thought this would be an opportunity for us to have a little look and see what's been, if there are any changes, what's been happening in Mauritius, and then giving us some insight into what's going on the islands and the opportunities, investment, property, etc. But before we get going, just a little bit of housekeeping. I have received a number of questions throughout the course of the weeks leading up to this webinar. So thank you to everybody that sent those questions through. We will do our best to tackle some of the key questions at the end of the webinar and during course of the discussion. However, as you know, at the bottom of your screen, you will see that there's a little icon that says chat. If you click on that, that opens up the chat box that sits on the side of your screen. Now, we will have not only the panelists that you can see in front of you today that have joined us, thank you to all of you, but also behind the scene, there is a team of experts that are here to answer those questions. So if you did pose some questions to me, please keep an eye on the chat. That will give you an opportunity to get some answers immediately from the experts. The other announcement, during the course of our webinar as well, we will run a number of polls, and that first poll is going to come up at this moment. Clem, there it goes. So I would really like to ask you to answer this poll for me, please. Estate Living is running a roadshow at the end of March where we're looking at bringing teams across to our team across to Mauritius to work with the developers to go through the island, to have a look at all of these opportunities, to get your questions answered. We are busy putting that together, and there would be obviously logistics and opportunities and all of that. If you are interested in this roadshow, you're quite far in your process and you unfortunately weren't able to go to Mauritius, due to the travel restrictions and whatever else that might have happened, this would be a wonderful opportunity to get a tour of the island. We'll talk about schools, we'll talk about property, we'll talk about rentals, we'll even talk about location and what's best suited to you as a person. So perhaps we'll give you a bit of a taste of that in today's webinar. But if you are interested, thank you for answering that poll. We'll happily send you some more information. And now that's my little pitch there for the morning. So I think we are here to talk about Mauritius. We are here to talk about the fact that now is the time to invest, and let us back that statement up with some information. So we are very happy today to have two of our partners in Mauritius on our panel. Phillipe de Beer has been with us before. He's been on a number of webinars with us. Parklane Property are experts on the island. They have their own beautiful property within the island themselves. They have a family history on the island. They've been working the market for a number of years, and they have a large plethora of properties that they represent, all of the best. And so they're really interested to hear what Phillipe has to say. Elodie is with the Azuri Oceans and Golf Village. That is a magnificent development that has been going for a while now. We've chatted about it before, and it really offers what I think South Africans can identify with as a residential community lifestyle. The number of facilities and amenities that the project offers really suits South Africans and what we're used to. Well, some of us are used to living here in South Africa. So I'm looking forward to hearing about that as well. But we're here to chat to the team. So let's, without any further ado, let's hand over to Phillipe. Thank you again, Phillipe, for putting your time and effort into presenting for us and giving us a bit of background to where we stand today after all of the lockdown and travel, what's happening with the visas and investment, and then, of course, talking about property and lifestyle. Over to you.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much, Louise. Very happy to be with you all. Direct Mauritius. The weather is a little bit overcast today, but still very hot and beautiful as always. So next slide, I'm just waiting. Yeah, next slide. So a little talk about who we are. So we are Parklane. I'm the founder and director of Parklane Properties. We founded together, my wife and myself, back in 2004. So we've got over 17 years of market knowledge, and our name through the years have been synonymous to expertise, integrity, and trusted advice. And we are more in the medium to high net worth segment of the market. And we've got 3 offices, so we cover basically the whole island. We're in the residential, we're in the industrial, we're in the commercial sector, and sales and rentals, long-term rentals. We love to treat our clients like they would like to be treated, and we accompany all our clients from beginning to end of the process, particularly when it comes to off-plan projects. They like to have our advice, and we give a very independent advice on every developer, every development, because we know them all, and through our years of experience, we've developed very close relationships with all developers across the island. So now you can enjoy a little bit of rain behind me, which we need at the moment, so we're not complaining. And we love to develop long-term relationships with our clients. We're not just there for the deal, but we have through the years managed to maintain very close relationships with a lot of our clients who've become friends. And we are not only local experts, but also we've got global exposure through our affiliation to 2 big real estate networks, leading real estate companies of the world, and Luxury Portfolio International. Next slide. So I think you all want to know a little bit more about basically the protocols that are in place at the moment, how you come to Mauritius, and what's happening here in the island. Next slide. So before coming, you've got to have a negative PCR test 72 hours before you arrive. You've got to make sure that you've got a COVID-19 insurance, health insurance cover. And obviously, you've got to show proof of vaccination, that you are a fully vaccinated traveler. That means at the moment 2 doses. And the second dose needs to be taken at least 14 days prior your arrival, excluding Johnson & Johnson, who you only need 1 dose and 28 days prior your arrival. You can see all the details of how, what is the procedure. You will have to fill in a form, and you might see in the chat now the link to download that form, because no, it's not downloadable, it's online. You submit the form, and then the easiest is that you go on the Air Mauritius website, which you would see in the chat, and on there, if you go to COVID-19 update and then prepare your travel, and then you go down to travel to Mauritius, you'll get all the details of how you need, what you need to do before arriving in Mauritius. There we are. Next slide. So when outside in Mauritius, once you've arrived, please make sure you wear your mask at all time. If you don't, you risk the risk to be fined, and you don't want that. And picnics for the moment are not allowed on the beaches, so you can go on the beach, obviously, but you can't have picnics. And obviously, you might, in many instances, be asked to show your vaccine card or vaccine pass in restaurants, cinemas, malls, clinics, etc. All right, next slide. So let's jump in the subject. Why we are here, obviously, live in Mauritius, why, where, what, and how. So I will give you a brief overview on why Mauritius is a great destination to relocate, why invest in property here, and how you can buy property and are eligible to permanent residence, because many of you is what you're looking for. When you buy property, I will also brush on the various subjects and how you can get residency apart from buying property, and before presenting you some real estate opportunities. Next slide. Why Mauritius? Well, first of all, there we are. First of all, for the quality of life that you can enjoy here in the country. Maybe if you can press the bar, yeah, again, yeah, there we are. So the quality of life, the island lifestyle, the direct flights you've got with South Africa, they are very modern and reliable infrastructures through the island. They are increasing the development of the roads and roads infrastructures. So they've done very big developments and investments in road developments in the last 2, 3, 4 years. You've got international standard health facilities. You've got education. You've got schools. You've got universities. You've got all the TV channels that you need, especially DSTV. Don't worry, you will be connected here. And the telecom broadband is very good. You've got fiber optics in most places through the island. And we can obviously enjoy and be proud of a very low crime rate. Next slide. And you might have to put a few little space bars. Thank you, Clem. I'll just wait, everything pops up. All right, so it's also a very attractive business climate, and that's why many businessmen come and establish their offices and finally also come to live on the island. It's one of the healthiest and most stable economies in Africa. We've got a very strong banking and business sector. You've got international banks in the island. It's a very well developed financial services. We've got a very secure investment location with established rule of law. It's a very investor-friendly regulatory framework. And you've got obviously one of the main reasons that many foreigners like to come here is for tax purposes, because we've got a very favorable tax regime with 15% corporate and income tax. And you've got the free repatriation of your funds and profits. Next slide. You might have to again press a little bit on the there we are. All right, so why invest in property? Okay, so first of all, you would probably like to diversify your investment portfolio offshore in a safe and regulated environment, which is the case of Mauritius. We've got a lot of opportunities of rental returns. I do agree it's not the country with the highest rental returns that you can expect, but yeah, never mind that. Nevertheless, you can still have nice, decent rental returns, a little bit more in the commercial sector, but this is regulated. Not all foreigners can just buy any commercial space for investment. Obviously, another reason is permanent residence. So more and more, the country's opening up to families, parents, grandparents to come and join here. So they are really opening up the country so that the whole family can actually come and live in Mauritius. You don't have capital gains tax, you don't have exchange control, you don't have any property tax apart from obviously the levies if you live in a resort. You can expect capital growth when you buy well. That's why you've got to be well advised from the beginning, but you can expect capital growth for your investment. And there is financing available through the main banks here. They can lend up to 60 or 70%, and they can lend in Mauritian rupees, in USD, in euros. They would also obviously check and lend you only up to your 75 years old, not beyond that. So if you're 60 already, it would be a loan maximum 5 years. But if you're younger, you can expect a longer term for your loan. Next slide. So one of the reasons why foreigners like to invest in property in Mauritius is to get actually permanent residency through your investment. So how can you buy property in Mauritius? The first thing you need to know is that you can only buy on freehold land. Most of the coast is leasehold, except some part of the island which is freehold. It's the case of, for example, Azuri, and we've got the joy to have Elodie Ray here with us who represent Azuri. So Azuri is a freehold land development by the sea. These are one of the examples that you can come across in Mauritius. Second criteria is that you have to buy in approved resorts. Through the years, they've been called different names, different schemes. You might have heard about them. In a nutshell, the first ones were the IRS, Integrated Resort Schemes, which were the big resorts. Then they introduced the Real Estate Scheme, RES, which was followed by another type of regulation called the Property Development Scheme, PDS. And finally, they gave new type of licenses to big developers, big landowners who wanted to basically develop integrated new town, and these are called smart cities. So when you buy within these resorts, if you buy above $375,000, you obtain permanent residence with your property. You would lose your permanent residence if you sell your property. It's always linked to the property. And obviously the permanent residence is also given to your spouse, your common law partner of the opposite sex, and your children. It was restricted to children under 24 years old. They've taken that restriction out, but obviously your child, even if he's above 24, needs to be a dependent, not just somebody who works for his own. And then they introduced late 2016 another little opening into buying property in Mauritius. And it's basically to buy anywhere you want in the island, outside of these resorts, an apartment, provided the apartment is within a residence, a block of apartments of ground plus 2 levels minimum. You can buy anywhere you want into that residence. Some have thought that you can only buy on the ground floor, on the first floor. No, you can buy anywhere you want in the building, and the building has to be on freehold land. Obviously, the price of the unit needs to be above 6 million rupees, can't be under. They've now accepted to also give you permanent residence with the apartment if the apartment is above $375,000. So that's very good news. Next slide. Another way of getting residency, if you don't want to buy property for the moment, you're not ready for that, another way is to get permanent residency through retirement. You might be 50 years old or more. Then the initial transfer you will have to do is just $1,500. And then you've got to make sure you transfer to the country in your bank account in Mauritius at least $1,500 every month, or just $18,000 annually. So it can be different amounts during the year or during the course of the 3 years, but provided it's at least an average of $1,500 per month. And you get residency for your spouse and your dependents. You get a 10-year permit, so that's very interesting. And after 3 years, you can apply for a 20-year renewal. All right, so you've got the right to invest in a business when it's the case, okay, but you can't get employment in the business and you can't derive a salary. So you're just an investor, you would be a shareholder of the company. You can also purchase senior living residences. There are a few on the country. This is basically homes catering for adults aged 50 and plus. There's recreation and socializing facilities, and you can buy a unit or the life rights of a unit, and there's no minimum price in those cases. Next slide. The other ways to get residence permits, they call it occupation permits. Okay, occupation permits are basically work and residence permits. So I'll quickly brush over it. You might want to look at the presentation again later, but basically there are 4 types of ways to get your occupation permit. First, as an investor, you come and invest in a business. It will give you a 10-year permit. It's renewable. You've got to make an initial transfer of $50,000 in your business activity, and you will have to prove that you make a minimum turnover of, in the beginning, 4 million rupees per year. And they check that after the 3rd year. So at least if you submit a business plan, You'll get a 3-year permit if it makes sense to them, and then they will see what's happening after the 3 years. You can also become a professional. Basically, that means you're going to be employed by a local company. The minimum basic salary you will have to earn on your business, on your employment contract, is 60,000 rupees per month, except in the ICT, BPO, the pharmaceutical, the food processing sector, and other little sectors that they've opened up. You only need to be paid 30,000 rupees salary per month. This third one is you come as a self-employed. Basically, you open up your own business under your own name. It would not be under the name of a company. It would be under your own name. You might be a consultant. You might be, how do you say, a health specialist, not a doctor, but you provide services. Basically, you become self-employed and you get a 10-year permit, which will be renewable. The initial transfer in your business activity as a self-employed will have to be $35,000. And then you've got to prove that you're making a minimum turnover of 800,000 rupees per year for the first 3 years. Finally, you come as an investor, investing $375,000. You've got to invest in a qualifying business activity. There's a long list, and you can check that on the EDB website. The EDB is the investment office of the government of Mauritius, and they basically give you all the information that you need on how to invest and what procedure you need to follow to do so. So they will give you the list, but it's in agriculture, audiovisual, cinema, bank, education, ecology. You see the list here that I've mentioned, and you can get 20 years residency. Next slide. They've introduced 2 other type of permits. All right. So the family occupation permit is you make an investment in the COVID-19 Development Fund of $250,000, and then you get a 10-year residence permit for your spouse, your children, and even your parents that can come and accompany you. It allows the resident and the spouse to also take employment in Mauritius. So that can be interesting for some of you. And they've introduced, while we were all in lockdowns, they've introduced the premium visa. It's just to encourage people who can work remotely to come and live and work remotely in Mauritius, from Mauritius, for a year. If you come for 6 months, you don't need that because you get automatically a tourist visa under 6 months. But if you want to stay longer, you will have to apply for a premium visa. It's 1-year permits, renewable, and you've got to prove that you've got the funds to obviously live here. You will have to show that you bring in the country at least $1,500 per adult and $500 per month per child, and your child needs to be under 24 years old. In those cases, you would not be taxed for anything you do out of the country. However, if whatever income of your activity you bring in Mauritius, this is where you're going to be taxed. You will not be taxed if you make an expense from your credit card for your accounts that are abroad. But whatever money you bring in the country as an income, you will be taxed according to the normal tax laws in Mauritius. Next slide. Finally, the permanent residence permit. It's basically it applies. Sorry, just to wait for the slide to be complete. There we are. So basically, it's for those that already have been in Mauritius for at least 3 years. Then they can apply and get permanent residence permits for longer periods of 20 years. I just have noted here the few minimums. You can go over it, but it concerns the investors, the self-employed, the professional, and the retired non-citizen, with some minimums that you've got to achieve in those cases. All right. Now, where to live in Mauritius? Next slide. I think that's a question that many of us are asking themselves. Where should I go? The West, I hear Tamarin Black River is beautiful. You can see a picture here of the Black River area and La Tourelle Mountain. Is the North maybe better for you? These are really questions that you will discover when you come here, but obviously we're here to advise you as well. So when coming to relocate, you will rapidly want to know basically what is the best location. And briefly, most foreigners like to go either north or southwest in the Black River and Tamarin area. And let's see on the next slide what these two big regions where foreigners like to come have for you. So the north is a very frequented region. You will have everything there: schools, shops, bars. It's known for its nightclubs, restaurants. It's more lively and vibrant environment. Lots of beautiful beaches, the water activities. You've got office parks as well, so you can establish your business. There's enough office parks and offices to rent there to establish your little office or your big office. The North is known for its beach lifestyle living. It's known as a very touristic region and area with large selection of hotels, 5-star hotels and restaurants, and you've got shopping malls and boutique, and obviously, as I just mentioned, the nightlife. Next slide. The towns that are known in the area, you've got Grand Bay, and I've just put a few ideas of the distance to the school for those of you who've got children that need to go to school. So you've got an idea. You've got Grand Bay, you've got Pointe-Canonier, slightly on the west of Grand Bay. You've got Montchoisy area, beautiful place with a very large golf course. You've got Péribert, a little bit more up north. You've got Cap Malheureux, Calodine, Grand Gob, more to the northeast. Darity Forest, also very nice, a little bit off the coast, inland, but very nice as well. Coming to the southwest, next slide. Southwest is known for its nature. It's a beautiful place to live. That's where I am right now. You see behind me the Tourelle of Tamarin, a little bit overcast, I guess. Yeah, a little bit. But you find everything's a little bit smaller. It's kind of a nice family, smaller village environment, but you can find everything. There's shops, there's schools, there's bars, the restaurants, you've got the beaches, you've got a very famous spot for surfers. In fact, two. You've got one in Tamarin Beach, and you've got one in the place called One Eye, which is by the Morne Mountain, beautiful. And you've got to be a very good surfer if you want to go and surf there. And there's a lot of kite surfing. There's a lot of office space as well. So many foreigners have got their offices sorted out in the West. It's known for its wild beauty, its nature. You've got a beautiful mountain chain with Le Morne, which you can see on the picture here. Very famous and beautiful Le Morne mountain that you can climb, in fact, as well as the Tourelle behind me. It's a more laid back and family place to live, but you've got the boating, you've got fishing, and you've got all the shops and malls that you need as well. Next slide. The south, the towns that are known here, you've got Tamarin, Black River, you've got Petite Rivière Noire, which is just it's a little bit more south to Black River, on the way to Le Morne. You've got Flic-en-Flac, a big town that is really developing nicely. You've got Cascavel just above Flic-en-Flac, and you've got Albion a little bit more towards the capital city, Port Louis. All right, so next slide. What property would best suit you? That's probably what you're asking yourself. So different types of investment according to who you are. Next slide. If you're coming to retire or invest, all right, so you obviously, I mean, there are different cases, but you might want to have an easy lock up and go because you're still commuting with South Africa. You want to have access to nearby facilities and amenities, and you still want to have a good investment opportunity to either get a rental return if you're not in the country, or just with a good potential of resale after. Next slide. So we've just prepared a few little selection. Obviously, this is a very small selection. We've got a lot of developments that we're selling, and a lot of developers have really received our trust. And we're selecting the developers with who we work, because we're there to establish long-term relationship with you, and we don't want you to buy into something that in the end is not a good buy. So we will give you the right advice as you come along with us. So North, this is a very nice lock-up and go type of investment, and it's also a nice investment for rental returns because it's well situated near the beaches, near Grand Bay. And here you've got 24 apartments. You've got only 5 units left. And I give you here a little idea of the units that are still available. You see the prices. You've got 2 bedrooms at the minimum threshold to get your permanent residence. So that's interesting for you. And you've got still 3 bedroom units. It will give you an access to the beach club of this developer who secured land on the beach and he's busy building. It's nearly ready, a nice beach club for all the different developments of this developer. And in this little development, you've got a communal pool. Next slide. Still the same developer, another type of easy lock up and go, good for an investment because there was different type of apartments in this larger development, 60 apartments. There's a large pool, there's a lounge, there's a gym. It still gives you access to that beach club that they've built for all their residents and investors. The 1 bedroom have gone, and then you've got some 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms, you've got penthouses at reasonable prices. So you see here the different prices, and this is under construction. It's going fast. So if you're looking into getting into your apartment, not in 3 years time or 2.5 years time, this is a good buy because it's under construction and well underway. Next slide. Going a little bit more southwest in the Black River area, still with the same developer. We'd love to work with him. He's doing quality work, quality developments at the right prices. And that's the guarantee for you that you're buying into a resort that is well done. So it's, once again, ideal if you are that type of investor and a retired person that just wants something easy to maintain and you want to travel through the world. Well, this is the best place because you just close your apartment and you go. It's brilliant for an investment. It will get probably good rental returns when it comes out on the market. The area is very nice, and it's also a nice lifestyle resort. It's a very peaceful seafront residence, and it's got 40 apartments and 9 penthouses. You see here the different prices. The penthouses are a little bit more pricey. Very beautiful, large penthouses of over 300 square meters. The price is in relation to that. And you've got different pools, you've got a gym, and you've got a nice venue for private celebration. Next slide. Southwest, a nice little development. This is really coming out of the oven, all right? So we just sold that land to a nice developer, and he has created this little development of 6 apartments. So this is going to fly out, we believe. So there's 2 on the ground floor, 2 on the first floor, and 2 penthouses. 1 is already secured, and the penthouse will have a roof terrace, which you don't see on this design. It's just the first picture that came out, but I just wanted to present you because this is going to go fast. So you see the prices here: 5.7, 10.4 for the penthouse. They're doing launching prices before they start building. So if you want to grasp that one, 5.4 instead of 5.7, and 9.5 for the penthouse instead of 10.4. There are parkings, there's a lift. They won't have communal pool because it's too small of a land. And anyway, you're just a few meters by car from the closest beach and shops. So you will have a nice little dip in the close Tamarin Beach nearby. All right, next slide. Now, if you're coming as a family, you're probably looking at a larger home, closer to schools as well, if you still have children. where you can find sport, leisure activity, and you expect and you want a nice lifestyle. Next slide. If you're coming as an extended family, that means you even need a larger home than that. You still want your schools around, or maybe tertiary education because your children are now at university level and you're still looking for that sport, leisure, and lifestyle. Well, for these, we've got different opportunities, and you will see in the next slides that I will show you. These are still also opportunities as an investor or as an easy lock up and go, because these are larger developments that give you different type of properties, larger homes, but also real interesting investment and lock up and go apartments. Next slide. This is the case of this beautiful, prestigious development on 22 hectares along the coast of Cap Malheureux in the north. So it's under construction at the moment. Next slide. So along the pristine seaside shores of the northern coastline of Mauritius, in Cap Malheureux, you've got at the backdrop the islet of Point de Beer, which is very well known. You've got this very nice Cap Marina and upscale water village. So Cap Malheureux and its tourist landmark, the church with its emblematic red roof, you might have seen it already. Well, it's just at the back right there, and it offers the ideal spot for prestigious development. It's an area of 22 hectares. It will be steeped in nature. It will be ultra-modern architecture. The project will offer a variety of properties for Mauritians and for foreigners. And it's a far-reaching project which revolutionizes the real estate market in Mauritius by combining high-end residential living with natural environment. And this development also focuses on sustainability by developing eco-friendly building techniques with energy efficient installation and equipment. And sometimes this is what we're also looking for to protect our beautiful country. All right, so next slide. In this development, you will see the more lock up and go investment that I mentioned earlier on. We've got apartments, different type of apartments. You see here the different price points and dimensions. Next slide. You can opt for maybe a townhouse. If you're retired, you still want your little garden, your pool. You've got 2-bedroom townhouses, you've got 3-bedroom townhouses, very nice. And you've got here the price points between 6 and 6.9 million rands with a reasonable size plot in front of you. Next slide. Now, if you are this extended family that we're talking about, you want a larger villa, well, they've got different choices of villas. The 2-bedroom, the 3-bedroom, the 4, the 5, different price points here, as you can see. They've got a very strong and established holiday rental management company. So when you come into the rental pool, you can obviously enjoy all they've got to offer for the rental of your unit. As you know, everything that concerns rental, smaller units are always better to rent for the holiday makers than large, big villas. Next slide. Still up north, within the north only golf resort, we have an exceptional offering here of properties and lifestyle. Within this resort, you can live, you can work, you can enjoy wonderful moments of leisure. It's only a short walk from stunning beaches, and this resort has been designed by world-leading landscape architects. So it's developed on a former sugar estate, so it features an impressive 18-hole championship golf course, as well as many amenities, offering a unique island lifestyles. Once again, in this development, like in most big developments, you've got various types of properties that have already been built. And there's also an existing community of owners who enjoy a fantastic lifestyle surrounded by nature. Now, on the next slide, you will see that they are developing in this next phase a unique selection of apartments, penthouses, and various types of villas. As you can see, the beach and the sea is just on the other side right there. What is available in this phase? Next slide. You see the penthouses and apartments. I'm just giving you an overview, quick overview of 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom penthouses. type of apartments. These are beautiful, communal pool, and obviously you enjoy the lifestyle of the resort. If you want a larger villa, like we're talking earlier on, you're going to the next slide and you will have some price points of larger villas, beautiful on plots varying between 700 and 1,700 square meters. And the price points you can see here averaging between 20 and 60 million rand. So that's for larger families and which larger homes. Next slide, we're jumping into the west coast, southwest coast, Tamarin, Black River. Here you see the mountain, the chain of mountains, beautiful, and the lagoon. So here on the next slide, we've got here in the west, within proximity to shopping malls, boutiques, sports center, beaches, and with a very easy connection to move around the island. You've got a nice development of 3 types of properties that can target 3 types of buyers with various budgets and needs. On the next slide, you can see a little presentation here. So on this big development, you will have 35 apartments. You see the price ranges here. You also have townhouses. The townhouses will be very nice, beautiful, and you've got 8 townhouses averaging 3 and 4 bedrooms. In the price points that you can see here, 5.2, 6.9 million rand. And for the apartments, you saw the prices. The 1 bedroom have gone through the, I mean, they sold out very rapidly, just under 2 million rand. And otherwise, you've got still 2 and 3 bedrooms between 2.6 and 4.6 million rand. And if you want a larger villa, no problem. We have 3 and 4 bedrooms, single story with private parking, ranging between 214 and 295 square meters. 3 or 4 bedrooms, you've got the price points here, 8 to 10.5 million rand. Beautiful, very nice. Next slide. Very nice PDS project on the mountain slope of the mountain, which is just behind me, but it's just on the other side. You can't see that development here. It's 12 units separated in 2 identical blocks, magnificent sea views, and we've got 2 duplex apartments, and there's 1 left at 992,000 euros. A little bit more pricey. It's a duplex. You've got a ground floor, little garden with a pool, and otherwise you've got the 2 bedrooms still available at 488 euros, 1,000 euros. And you can see on the next slide some 3D images. And on the next slide, immediately just after, you can see that construction is well underway, and the delivery is planned for early 2nd September, so about July, August 2022. You can see here the beautiful views of this development. Another great development that we love to present to our buyers is Azuri. Azuri is a unique community in Mauritius. It's tucked away between the sea and its own golf course that they're busy building. And it's one of the most beautiful parts of the island, with a lifestyle blending, conviviality, convenience, with different services. You've got shops, you've got restaurants. It's really an ideal resort for everyday living. And I will leave, obviously, Elodie in just a minute to give you an overview of this beautiful resort that we love. On the next slide, if you're not ready to buy yet, that might be the case, and that's not a problem. We are here to help you while you decide on the location, while you decide what type of property you want to buy. We are rental specialists in Mauritius, not for holiday rentals, but long-term rentals. And they are beautiful homes, easy lock-up and go apartments that you can find in the north, in the southwest, or even in the center of the island if you're working and you want to be closer to your place of residence, or place of work rather. So there we are. Next slide. This is us, so Parklane. You see our contact details. We would love to be your real estate partners in Mauritius with our team. We love to accompany you with our more personal approach to property. So please be in touch, and I'll give the mic to Louise back. Here we are.
Thank you so much, Phillipe. That is excellent. What a wonderful summary of all of the questions that have been asked us. Visas, investment, opportunities, depending on who you are, the size of your family, your budget. And I'm sure for many of us to go back and relook at that content is going to be very, very valuable. I would like to just stay within our time range. So Elo, as you mentioned, a fantastic project that's underway is the Azuri. So, and Eloise is quietly sitting here to share with us the opportunities that lie. So the Azuri captures a lot of what South Africans are looking for when we think about residential community living, and many of us do live within those residential communities currently. So they would understand the kind of opportunities that the estate does offer. So perhaps you could tell us a little bit about it and give us some more information around what's available, the new phases, update on your golf course that's under construction, and then we hand over the reins. Elodie.
Thank you, Louise. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for giving us the opportunity to present Azuri. So on our side, well, it all started in 2014 when we have welcomed our first homeowners. Next slide, please. So we were part of the first promoters who took the challenge to create a resort village on the northeast coast of the island. The idea was really to create a beachside living close by education system, like we are only 15 minutes away to international school. In the same area, you have now a new medical hub. We are only 25 minutes to Grand Bay, 30 to 40 minutes to the capital city. So yes, next slide, please. Next slide, please. Thank you. Next one also, thanks. So just about Azuri. So as we speak now, we have now 386 homeowners, and we took the judicious choice to welcome Mauritian and foreigners owner at Azuri, who make the most of having a selection of facilities and amenities on site, only walking distance from their home. So we have a 100-room hotel, which is managed by the Radisson Blu, a choice of restaurants, shops, spa. Being on the seafront, obviously we have a nautical club which offer the service of the boat park service, the launching, the maintenance, and obviously the water sports activities. Also, if you have kids from 2 to 4 years old, we have a Montessori kindergarten on site, while your teenagers could enjoy the tennis, the gym, and a new paddle tennis court that we have, which is quite trendy at the moment. And just to close it all, we will also have a new baby in the family, which is our new signature 9-hole golf course, which is expected in the next few months. So next slide, please. Yeah, we can go on the next one as well. When we would talk about why Azuri, so if I had to reply to that from my personal experience from dealing with buyers who invest at Azuri, I think the main reason why people choose Azuri was for the lifestyle that we are offering. And as you were saying, I think it's very similar to what you have in South Africa, to be able to live in a place where, you know, when you're going to buy in a country which is not yours, obviously you will be looking at the environment and looking at a place where you will be in a secure environment, when you will have all the facilities without having taken your car, and also the community. We can go on the next slide. the community at Azuri is really important for us. We have actually like a lifestyle manager who is in charge of really create events, and it's quite amazing to see how people from different nationalities over the year have met because and through Azuri. It's a really lively village, I must say, with a lot of people living the whole year at Azuri. Next slide, please. So as you can see, so having all those facilities and amenities on site, obviously, as a homeowner, you have like preferential rate to have access to those. And it's our focus really to create a well-being, like all our activities and facilities will be around the well-being, and this is also where the golf course will be coming. Next slide, please. So as I was saying, we have decided to add another experience to Azuri. We not aim to become a golf estate. We are already like a ocean estate, but it's really to add this experience, this golf experience. We are only very close by to different 18-hole around us. So the idea really for the with the nine golf course was really to fit also the people who choose Azuri, our homeowners, who are active people, families, newly retired people. So it will be a nice experience to be able to do to go on the course in the morning before going to work or after school. So we are very excited about that and looking forward to do the ignoration of our golf course. Next slide, please. So yes, so you can see, so now the construction has well advanced, but you can see the golf being built at the moment. There will also be a new dining option, which will be through the golf club. So that's also really nice. Next slide. So now that we've talked a bit about Azuri and the lifestyle and what's around, obviously we will talk about the diverse portfolio of properties that we have. We have the chance today to really have something for everyone at different budgets. So we're talking about the off-plan, we have land, the resale, the rental. So we will start with the new project. The next slide, please. Which is a service land on the Gulf. So it's quite a unique product because it's really rare for foreigners to be able to buy land in Mauritius. So with this product, so we are talking about 1,000 square meter land on the Gulf, and with the options to build your own, like a tailor-made option. Obviously, we have the expertise of the development management, so we offer this service to assist the buyer from scratch, from designing his villa to the delivery. So, and this project is already ready. So it could be, you could start the construction as soon as you own the land. If we move to the other slide, there's just a few examples and design of what you could do on those land as a tailor-made villa. You could move to the next one as well. And next one. We will go now through the new off-plan project that we have launched recently. Very unique because, as Phillipe was saying, it's very difficult in Mauritius to get a property as a foreigner close to the sea. And those 4 villas have all the sea view. We are talking about 3 to 4 bedroom 4-bedroom villa, and we are talking about a budget of 22 million rand, which will be split obviously during the construction because those are off plan. So this is more our high-end villa that we are offering at the moment. If you go on the next slide, there will be some more images. So this is where it's located on Azuri, so very close to the facilities, to the Gulf, but a very prime location. The next slide, you will have a bit of a feel of the design of the villa. Here you are. So as I was saying, so it's initially 3-bedroom, but you have the option to have a 4-bedroom. We are on a 700 square meter land as well. So now on the next slide, we will talk about also an off-plan project, which is called Alona, which is 22 townhouses, 3-bedroom, 152 square meter, where you will have your private garden and private pool. This product really fits if you're looking for the resident permit, because in terms of budget, we are at the $375,000 US. That's around the 5.7 million rand off plan also. So the payment will be split until the delivery. If you go on the next slide, we will also have like a feel of the design and where it's located on Azuri. We can pass on the next slide just to give you yours. That's a feel from the inside and from the common area. Now, as I was saying, we also have resales. There's already built units, so that's for people who want to see and feel the product, who need something ready to be able to move in the next month. So in terms of the resale, we have different type of products: apartments, townhouse, penthouses, and villa as well. In terms of budget, it will be as from 4.5 million rand for a 3-bedroom apartment. So yeah, now we can go into the next slide in terms of the rental. So we are also offer the service of managing the rental part, so short-term, mid-term, and also long-term rental. Just to have an idea, the long-term rentals for 1 year, in terms of budget for 2 to 3-bedroom apartment, we're talking about 12,000 rand per month. Can go up obviously according to the type of properties. We can go into the next slide. So yeah, so this was just to say that, you know, according to what happened in the world at the moment, we understand that it was difficult to travel. So we have tried to adapt a maximum to be able to help you, even if you can't come to Mauritius, to have a feel of the project and the product. So we have a virtual reality tour on our website. We're also very open to like video calls to make you feel as if you were at Azuri. And just to conclude, well, I hope I tried my best to give you a feel of what it is, but obviously the best way to be and to come here to feel it yourself. So I'm really looking forward to welcome you at Azuri during the Roadshow in March.
Thank you very much, Elodie. It's really beautiful there, and you can really see the wide variety of assets. And as you mentioned, we will have one night, if not more, at Azuri. We'll get an opportunity to stay at the hotel and then spend the day investigating some of the facilities, looking at the apartments, resales, off plan, etc. Maybe we'll even have a look at what has been completed at that stage of the golf course. So And we will also be viewing a number of the properties that Phillipe has mentioned during the course of his presentation. So please feel free to contact Louise at Estate-Living if you didn't answer the survey, if you are interested. We'll be sharing more information about the Roadshow in the coming weeks. And we have tried to position it around the public holiday at the end of March, so that we can have a look. Maybe it's an excuse to leave the kids behind and come and have a little bit of fun in Mauritius for mom and dad, or just mom. We'll take care of her. And yeah, so thank you so much to everybody that stayed with us and for coming and joining us on our first webinar this year. I've enjoyed it very much so, and I really look forward to meeting and seeing everybody. Thank you again to the team that joined us and to everybody in the back end that answered as many of those questions. This is recorded. The recording will be available in the next 24 hours. We have included the chat in the recording so you can go back and view. But like I said, I'm happy to connect you with the panelists and have a wonderful day further. Thank you, everybody. Clem, you can pop the video on.